the Wraparound with Grace,
Alessia,
and Maryuri.
Well, good day, everybody. I mean, I don't really want to say good morning or good evening, good night. I don't know what time you guys listen to this podcast, so good day. I'm Maryuri, and I'm here with my two wonderful co-hosts, Grace and Alessia. How are you guys?
Doing good. How about you?
Living life. You know, school started again, already second day in, already pretty exhausted. We're going to start off with our first segment, which is Newsroom. I always come up with different names, so this week it's Newsroom. And we're just going to do a little bit of recap of the games played, and we're not going to go through every single day because there's just a ridiculous amount of games being played.
Yesterday there was like, what, 10?
Yeah, it would literally take us forever.
Crazy.
It would take us forever to go through every single day. So, I mean, the past few days, it has been really interesting, you know, really fun rivalries that have been played, you know, ones that you only get to see once in a while, but you get to see them pretty often now. And so the usual suspects have been playing well so far. So you have Tampa Bay, you have Washington, Vegas is in there too, but some teams not so much. Do teams have a lot more to lose since it's a shortened season? So these teams are not performing so well right now, but they've only played like 3 or 4 games. Still, is it very telling because the season is only 56 games?
I think like as a person watching, I have a heightened anxiety about it, and like anxiety is the wrong word to use. My team's doing bad right now, and there's only 56 games. They didn't have a preseason, they didn't have any exhibition games, so they kind of have to get it in gear a lot faster. It makes me worried whether some teams are going to be able to do that or not.
Yeah, like just to like kind of feed off what Grace said, every game is going to count even more. Now, I feel like teams, you know, there's kind of like that period before playoffs where you kind of have to get it in gear and you know you have to. I think with 56 games being played in only 56 games, it's like you need to put yourself in playoff mode much quicker than last season, much quicker than any season. So I think each game, as much as it counts, I guess, for 2 points, it feels much more than just 2 points because it's just 56 games.
Yeah, 100%. Like, very well put, especially 56 games. That would probably be what? Let's say halfway into the season, a little over halfway into the season if there was the whole schedule. So they would be in the last probably couple of months. If we were in a real season, they'd be probably the last couple of months before the playoffs. So they should just treat it kind of the same way. But yeah, we just need to see what these teams come up with, if they can continue, I don't know, playing as they usually play in past seasons when it's a full season, or if this shortened season is going to kind of get to them and, you know, ruin their chances at getting that beloved Stanley Cup. Speaking of a team who hasn't played at all yet, the Dallas Stars
segue.
The Dallas Stars are finally set to start the season on January 22nd. So last week we had mentioned that the 17 members of the Stars tested positive for COVID and were forced to shut down their training camp, literally everything, all their operations. Apparently most of them were asymptomatic and they were recovering well. At the end of the day, they got infected, and that was a big blow to literally the whole team. They're very behind. It'll be interesting to see how their schedule is newly laid out in order for them to catch up and not be so behind if, let's say, they make it to the playoffs. At first, the NHL didn't reveal which players tested positive during training camp, but now that the regular season is back in play, they're apparently going to reveal all the names of the players who will miss time due to COVID-19 protocols. My question is revealing the names a good move by the league, or should this remain confidential?
I think it's good to release them because it stops speculation. And I mean, if a bunch of players on one team are all of a sudden out, fans are going to speculate, media is going to speculate. So I think it's better to just kind of get it out and over with and let people know what's going on. And also with COVID-19, you have to be like 100% transparent, I think, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll lead to less criticism in the end and less speculation.
I think before the league began revealing names, some people were kind of able to, you know, read between the lines, because in terms of how the teams were kind of putting out their statements, they were saying, you know, this specific player is unfit to play. Well, reporters have seen them at practice. They seemed completely fine, no injuries, like they've sustained no injuries. So kind of when the teams in the league would put out their statement, you could kind of read between the lines. So, you know, if the player isn't injured and they're just saying they're unfit to play, well, we kind of know that they have COVID. So like Grace said, I think it's good that they reveal the names. Obviously, there's kind of like that side of me that's like, you know, if the player wants to keep it confidential, then maybe that's an option that they should have. But at the same time, if you're thinking of a situation like the Dallas Stars where 17 players test positive, there's only so many players that don't have COVID, just to reveal it.
I also think it's nothing to be ashamed of. So I think it's good for players to kind of set that standard of not being ashamed of having it.
When I was reading it, it said COVID-19 protocols. So I'm confused as to if it's only players who might be exposed and they don't actually know if they have the virus or not, or if it's players who already tested positive. That's the only kind of
yeah, that's why I was kind of confused as well when I read it.
I don't know. I can't remember where I was reading this. I think I was reading it on ESPN because apparently they're my new favorite website for information.
Marjorie sourced ESPN like 4 times in the past 2 weeks.
But yes, ESPN, they have some good stuff. Either way.
We're not saying they don't. We're just laughing at you.
Either way, I don't know what COVID-19 protocols means. It really didn't elaborate. So I'm assuming it could be both, that maybe they were exposed and they just want to keep them quarantined until they find out, or maybe with someone who tested positive. Regardless, at the end of the day, I think it is a good move to kind of reveal the names. Also, I feel like it also gives the teammates a peace of mind to kind of see what's going on and people who played against them, and if they want to take certain precautions. It just lets everybody be a little bit safer. And like you guys were saying about players being, injured or gone for undisclosed illnesses, we're going to talk about Jonathan Toews and Kirby. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Is it Doc or Doch?
I'm going to take the liberty and say you have to have that on the end. It has to be Doch.
Because I would want to know what his background is, because it's a very unique last name.
Yeah, but they're on everybody's favorite team, the Blackhawks. So
yeah, everybody's favorite team. Mr. Captain Jonathan Toews and centerman Kirby Dach, who I'm pretty sure is in his second year in the league, are now on the long-term IR, meaning both must miss at least 10 games in 24 days, which I never knew. I never knew that was like a mandatory thing.
Yeah, I read that yesterday and I was like, Marjorie, where'd you get this from?
ESPN. I think ESPN.
ESPN counter 5. 5 times in 2 episodes.
Okay, so I'm going to trust my sources. I think ESPN is a reliable source. Either way, when I read that, I was like, I never knew that. I never heard that in my life, but I was like, okay, if they have to miss 10 games, then they have to miss 10 games. But this also means that the Blackhawks gain some flexibility to go over the salary cap if needed. And so Toews announced before the season started that he would be out indefinitely due to a undisclosed illness, which obviously we don't know because it's undisclosed. And meanwhile, Doug sustained a fractured wrist during the World Juniors, and I'm pretty sure that happened before the tournament started. I think it was
an exhibition game against Russia.
Yes. And then also defenseman Brent Seabrook also remains on the IR for the Blackhawks after having surgery for his hips and shoulder, or hip and shoulder, during the off season. I mean, pretty significant losses if you see how much of an impact I think Kirby Dach would have had in the World Juniors if he had been healthy to play, and especially since he's so young. Obviously, losing a captain is always gonna hurt your team a little bit, and even losing a defenseman is also a big significant loss, especially Seabrook. So how do these losses impact the Blackhawks this season, and how significant of a loss is it for them? So can they make it up with someone else, or do you think it will have a pretty severe impact on the team?
Well, I would say in terms of Toews, it's kind of hard to replace a captain, especially in the locker room. Last season, 70 games played, he had 18 goals, 42 assists, 60 points. That's significant impact that he's having on the team. Doc as well, he's a rookie. So last season, his rookie season, 64 games played, 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points. That's not like an amazing number, but for a rookie you're seeing his development and he's kind of looking towards being such an impactful player for the Hawks, it's a big loss. The only player that I'm kind of like, I don't think it's a huge loss for the Hawks is Brent Seabrook, because he is, I believe, last season and coming into the season, he was speculated to be on the third pairing, and his numbers 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points in 32 games played. That's not amazing. So I feel like In terms of defense, a guy like Duncan Keith will have to step up, and he's shown he can do that in the past. So it's more on Taves and Doc that I think is a huge loss for the Hawks. And, it's only the beginning of the season, and this team has already dealt with so much adversity. So you got to feel for them.
I most definitely agree with Alessia, about all of that. And the fact that Taves and Doc are both big losses on the ice, whereas Seabrook is less of one. But I think all players are big names in the franchise. Even Seabrook for Blackhawk fans is pretty serious.
Yeah.
So I think that all three
Yeah.
contribute to a big loss in team morale rather than on ice performance. That being said, it's good that he's getting fixed up now, because now that the Blackhawks have players like Doc coming up kind of out of their prospect pool and coming to the team, they're going to need those big senior roles next year. So having guys who have played on the team for a few years like Taves and like Seabrook healthy for next season when it's a full season is going to be really important.
Things happen, life happens. They kind of just have to learn how to work with it, and hopefully maybe this will get them going a little bit, pick up the pieces, and start actually playing like they used to. That's all the seriousness for today. That's Newsroom for you. I hope you enjoyed. Now we're moving on to, okay, so this is kind of I think a little mesh of everything. I let the girls choose who they wanted to pick, what they wanted to pick, if there was a play they wanted to pick. So it's standout players, teams, play so far. This is now up to you guys. But first, we're going to start with Grace. What is your pick? Who is your pick? What play is your pick?
Nick Suzuki. Alessia's
Oh, you stole mine.
Yeah.
Stole mine.
Whoa.
So I'll let you elaborate on that. Mostly because I feel like I owe him an apology, because he played the Leafs the other night. I was like, I should have paid more attention to this kid in junior, because I did. But whenever he played the Hounds, I was like, please get off the ice. Please go over there.
That's usually what happens with good
So
players.
we have a chance.
Exactly.
And then the next one for plays, everything Connor McDavid's done so far, but especially that one goal where he went ripping up the ice and just had that shot from, I think it was the right side.
I think everyone knows he's just ridiculously fast.
That one was insane. Quick and dirty. We got him done. Go
Quick and
Alessia.
dirty. Alessia, your turn.
Yeah, so I don't really have a play other than I was going to speak about Connor McDavid and how he's been amazing so far. Well,
You guys are
especially
twins
against the
today.
Canucks. Also had Nick Suzuki down. I feel like he's such a smart player with the puck. It's incredible. Every game so far, he's pulled out a new move, and everybody's just been so amazed. But because Grace picked Nick Suzuki, I guess I'll go with another player. I'll go with Josh Anderson. When Montreal acquired him this summer, I knew he'd be fast. I knew he'd kind of be a power forward Montreal's been looking for. But this guy is so quick. I was so blown away. I've been waiting for a player that isn't afraid to take the puck themselves down the ice with speed and cut to the net for a really long time. I've been really happy with him, been really happy with Nick Suzuki. Connor McDavid, after losing to the Canucks, the Oilers came back and wanted their next game against them. He's been Edmonton's best player so far, and he's been doing good. He didn't score against the Canadiens, so if I'm the Leafs, I'd kind of be scared because both Draisaitl and McDavid have not scored.
Oh, don't worry. We're all terrified.
Honestly, if I was the Leafs and it was the reverse, so in terms of let's just say the Edmonton Oilers were playing the Canadiens, I'd be scared because McDavid and Draisaitl did not they don't seem happy after those two games.
Well, yeah, we all know that those two are kind of the face of that franchise, and who are we kidding? McDavid has kind of been their best player for the past couple of seasons. How could you not say that he's kind of been one of the best, aside from Draisaitl, who's also been arguably right next to him in that kind of race? But I mean, Connor McDavid can do so many insane things, and just his speed is ridiculous. I can't even stand up in skates. How to think about striding that fast with people on your back and then scoring a goal. That's what makes him so amazing and what makes him such a great player, and that's why he's so valuable to the team, because the game has gotten so fast, and so he's obviously kept up with that. Great choices.
So since Alessia and I were basically the same, Marjorie, what's your pick? Give us a pick. I'm throwing it to you.
I'm not used to this.
I know.
I don't know, you guys. That's a good question. I'm not usually the one who gets asked the question. So, I mean, since I mainly watch the Leafs, I'm not going to, lie here. I would say probably John Tavares, just because he's been playing so well for the Leafs on that power play. I mean, the power play for the Leafs has always been kind of ridiculously good, especially since we got JT, but he has been producing, I want to say, maybe 3 4 goals on the power play over the past like 4 games. And so he's pretty much had a point a game. And plus he's the captain. So of course, you know, he's obviously not disappointing this team whatsoever. So I'm going to say him for this past week just because he's been playing really well. And I think he's a reliable player for the Leafs right now. We'll have to see if he keeps it up. He better, or else I'll scream.
There you go.
Since we were only mainly talking about forwards, I have a very special edition of trivia this week.
Alessia, did you study?
Sort of. A bit.
Knew it.
I just briefly.
And Grace was the one who told me we
No,
should have themed things so we can study and be prepared. So that's why this week I did goalie edition, because everybody knows how much we love goalies on this show.
Which was also still very vague, by the way.
What? It's not. I'm not going to be like the goalie from the 2019-2020 season either. I don't want to make it that easy for you guys. It's going to be a good one, I promise. Honestly, goalies was a little hard one because I was like, I feel like it'd be easy, but
There's only like 8,000 goalies around. No worries.
But I mean, I think everybody knows who the most like prolific goalies are in all of the NHL. So
Yeah.
I really hope my
Hopefully-
coffee paid off.
So hopefully you guys don't know, because that's the point of my job, to make this quiz hard. And believe it or not, this week I made the quiz all by myself.
Yay.
Okay, that's upsetting to me because I was
Why?
mainly studying answers to questions on trivia sites that I found on the internet.
I mean, okay, I'm not that creative either. Like in my head, I came up with questions that I thought were like pretty basic. You guys better be ready, because it's always you two against me, because I'm the one who made the quiz. So last week, what did we do? We did the buzzer with our mouths.
Yeah, we said ding.
Ding. Okay.
Should we do so, like, you assign a question to one of us? If we get it wrong, the other person can steal.
Oh yeah, I like that. Nice one, Alessia.
Make
Very
Alessia
nice.
go
Just
first.
came up. All right.
So, all right. I have to take out my trusty sticky notes so I can write down.
Ah,
What?
yes. Sponsored by 3M.
Thank you for my blue sticky notes. Got them on Amazon Prime. Not sponsored. Can you imagine if we were sponsored by Amazon Prime? If you're listening to us, please sponsor us.
If
So,
anybody wants to sponsor us, we are opening up that window right now.
just contact us and we'll make it happen. We're very open to anything. Well, within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
within reason.
We do have our limits.
Yes, we do. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yes.
So this week's trivia is goalie edition. Woo! Okay, Alessia.
Yes.
Question numero 1. Which goalie has the most wins in NHL history? And before you answer, I have 3 options for you. Okay?
Okay.
I
hate
have
your options.
Mr. Roberto Luongo,
All right.
Martin Brodeur, and Patrick. Is it Roy or Roy?
Roy.
Roy. And Patrick Roy. Which one do you choose?
I am going with Martin Brodeur.
Very good. But yes, Mr. Brodeur has 691 wins in NHL history. And believe it or not, he also has the most losses in NHL history, which I kind of found funny. And I didn't understand how that was possible, but he holds the record for both. Next question for Mrs. Grace, or Miss Grace. You're not married.
Thank you. Thank you for rubbing that in my face.
Hey, we're only 19. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. I mean, but if you're 19 and married, that's also okay. We don't discriminate. So, okay, now, which current goalie is the leader in shutouts? And once again, I have options.
Thank God.
I have Braden Holtby, Mr. Marc-Andre Fleury, or Jonathan Quick.
No, I know what it is. I say that, and then I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to go with B, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Very nice. I'd be surprised.
Obviously,
if
I
you
do
got
that.
wrong. Yeah, of course you did.
Have
Okay.
you met me?
I was like, Grace has to get this one, because if she doesn't, then she's a fake fan. Okay, Alessia.
All right.
Who was the last goaltender to score a goal?
Oh my gosh. You don't have options for this one?
No. Because if I gave you options, then you would know.
Oh
I'll
my
let-
gosh.
I'll tell you that it was like maybe like a year ago, or like a year and a half ago. I think it was in like the 2019-2020 season or the season before.
Okay.
A lot of people were talking about it when it happened.
Thank you, Marjorie. That's very helpful.
Okay, I think I have it
Okay.
because I remember. Was it Pecorine?
Very good, Grace. This one might be a little tricky, not gonna lie. Who was the last goaltender to serve as captain?
Oh my god.
And it was not recent.
Oh, God help me.
Honestly, I don't think either one of you would have gotten this question.
Okay, wait, do we have options? Is there an
No.
ability for options?
I love
No.
how the hardest questions don't have options.
She doesn't give us options.
That's the whole point. I mean, I didn't get options for this one because I still think you guys wouldn't have been able to get the option.
Can I guess a team that he was on?
Sure.
Chicago? Okay, Alessia, your turn. I give up. I'm just gracefully bowing out of this one.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there has been goalies who have served as captains for the Canadians. I don't know the exact names to be specific, so I'm just gonna go just with the team. I'm just gonna say that. Just gonna say the Canadians.
Of course, Alessia is correct.
But I don't like.
I don't like how we got here.
I don't know how. So yes, you did.
I
play
thought
for
I'd
the
honest-
Canadians. He played for the Canadians, and he was the captain in the 47-48 season. So, do you guys want me to tell you who it is?
See, I thought it would, like, I was guessing the Canadians, but I thought it'd be like much like a long time ago, more than that. Okay, give me the name.
It's Mr. Bill Durnan.
The fact that doesn't ring a bell at all.
All right, I irrelevant to me. But
I stumped
awesome.
My
you.
father probably knows that right off the bat who that is, and I'm just like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's even a Hockey Hall of Famer. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1964. But yes,
Well,
that
We learn something new every day.
yes. So he's the last goalie to ever serve as captain, and for a very good reason, because that is still very weird to do that. And I hope no team ever does that in the future.
I feel like your goalie
It's-
is your best person to have to be the captain. Let's be
Yes,
real.
and
You know,
I think
it's kind
in
of
theory,
odd
it makes
because
sense.
I was gonna say it's kind of odd because in, like, just to say in soccer,
Yeah.
goalies are able to be captains, right? So I don't know. It's kind of odd that the NHL, doesn't have like that exception. Like, it's good. I guess it'll be weird if you have a C on a goalie's jersey, but at the same time, like, if they're your leader,
Also, I
like,
just think
I'm sure by now, like, just to say in Montreal's case, Carey Price would have been the captain a long time
Oh
ago.
yeah.
Mhm,
If
yes,
he was able to get the C, but that's
100%.
not possible. So.
I think it's because in soccer there's much more leeway, and I think the goaltender has a lot more opportunity to actually stick up for his players, speak to the ref, and so on. I feel like in hockey, I just don't think it's the right environment to have your goalie be captain. Regardless,
Does
he's
Alessia get a
the
point
last
for
one.
that?
No, because you guys have to get the name. You guys have to get
Yeah.
the name. Either way, Alessia's still winning by a point.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Okay, so second last question. So this one is for Alessia. Which Hockey Hall of Famer was given the nickname the Dominator?
I'm just gonna go with what's on my mind because its name sounds the same. I'm gonna go Dominic Hasek.
Very good.
I don't think it's fair that Alessia gets asked an extra question.
No, because
Why
you
stole
gave up your
yours?
last question. That's why. Okay, like I said the last time, the last question is always the one where you can grab all the marbles and run away with it. So, Grace.
Yeah.
Which goalie is the all-time leader in penalty minutes?
What?
So, we have Ed
Yes,
Belfour,
options.
Ed Belfour,
Okay.
Ron Hextall, and
Okay.
Billy Smith.
Okay.
I
I heard
think
Alessia go.
Alessia's gasp. Yeah.
Because I don't even know. Like,
Okay. I'm thinking. I don't think it's Ed Belfour.
Okay.
My gut says to go with Billy Smith.
Is that your final answer?
No, because you seem put off by that.
I'm just asking you because you said my answer. So I need to know if it's your final answer.
You know what? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, Grace.
See, I
It
knew
is
it.
not.
can I
knew it.
guess?
Yes, guess
Just
Alessia.
for fun, I was gonna go with Hextall.
You're right. So Ron Hextall has 569 penalty minutes in all of his career.
In what universe?
Either way, Alessia, you win again, 2 in a row. Grace, you have to catch up. You have to do your research.
Give Grace the benefit of the doubt. It's still
Don't blame me.
no, it's not even noon.
I'm so tired.
Either way, I'm glad you guys, or I hope you guys like this
You know
week's
what's
edition
hilarious?
of trivia.
My
What?
thought process during that last question was go with Hextall. And then my gut was like, nah. Billy Smith sounds like a troublemaker.
Well, next week will not be trivia, but you guys have to wait and listen to next week's show to see what our fun little segment is. I'm not going to give any hints because I want it to be a surprise. So, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Trivia, Goalie Edition. Trust me, the next couple of trivias will be even harder.
No, they won't.
Okay.
All right, we're revoking Marjorie's role as trivia maker. She's done
No, never. I have fun making these. It gives me life purpose. But now, something else that gives me life purpose is asking you opinion-based questions and having our open discussion time, which is always fun because we still haven't had anyone argue and I'm still waiting for that day. So first, we're going to stop.
Okay, wait. I need to give everybody a background on our friend group dynamic. It's that we argue 24/7 until we hit record. And then it's like, you know what? You guys have really good points. I like that a lot.
That's just our dynamic. That's what makes us work, you know? My very first topic for you guys to kind of discuss, and I'll, add my points here and there, is Pittsburgh Penguins' Jared McCann got fined $10,000. Oh, in the outline I wrote 10 and then 00. That's not a number. Or it is 1,000, but it's actually 10,000. He got fined $10,000 for elbowing. So, thoughts, opinions? Was it too little? I mean, that is the max, but should he have gotten game suspensions? Give me your thoughts, ladies.
Okay, he elbowed to the head. Like, it was an elbow to the head. It wasn't just like elbowing.
It's just like, boop.
He was just like in the head. So 10,000, I don't disagree with that. Game suspensions, I feel like it's the beginning of the season, so you have to set a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good point.
That's my only thing. So maybe a game, like one game, make him sit out. This also hurts me because, hi, welcome to Grace's Junior Hockey Corner. Jared McCann was a former Sioux Greyhound. But I do think it's really important to set a precedent. So I agree with the 10,000. I think there could have been more since it was an elbow to the head. But Alessia, I don't know. Maybe you disagree.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I think it's really early on in the season. I agree with the $10,000. I was watching the highlight of the play. It was a clear elbow. He clearly took his hand off his stick, and he used his elbow to hit Sanheim. I mean, there was intent there. Like, you see it in the video. So I completely understand the fine. I think it's reasonable.
Wow, we're really agreeing with each other today. I don't know what happened to us, but I also agree with you guys.
I can be belligerent. Do you want me? I can redo that. No.
I don't have the energy today. I do not have the energy today to fight you. Either way, I also agree. I mean, my only issue with fines in professional sports is that professional athletes have the money to pay the fine. So realistically, it's not really punishment because what is $10,000 to a multimillionaire? Nothing. And so I feel like game suspension is always more valuable than a fine because you're stopping the player from playing and you're making the team lose a valuable player if it is a valuable player. So that's my only issue with fines. It's the only issue I've ever had with fines. I'm okay with, yes, go ahead, fine them, whatever. But realistically, it really does nothing to the player because they can pay it off in like 2 seconds. So that's my only issue with fines, and that's why I would have wished to have seen some game suspensions. But it's the NHL. This is what usually happens with these kinds of things, and it sucks to say that, but that's the league. Second point. So I wrote this outline a couple of days before, and so initially Spezza and Dell had been placed on waivers, and I was very sad, not about Dell, but about Spezza. But Dell was claimed by New Jersey, which, I mean, we were speaking about how the Devils needed a goaltender because Corey Crawford retired. So I think that kind of solves their issues for now.
Did the wraparound predict Dell being placed on waivers? Breaking
Are we
news.
legit? And then, thank goodness, Spezza cleared waivers, or else his agent had stated that if he had been claimed off waivers, then he would have retired, and I would have been very, very sad. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about, Dell being claimed and Spezza clearing?
Alessia, do you want the inner Leafs fan to take this?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Dell is our third goalie.
Yes.
Next up is Michael Hutchinson.
Don't even
The
get me
name
started.
that hurts every single Leafs fan. But honestly, to lose a third string goalie isn't that bad.
No, it's
Especially
not.
when you have Campbell and Anderson up first. Hutchinson is a very last resort at this rate. So not mad. Also kind of fixes New Jersey's problem where now they have enough goalies to say that they have a third string goalie, because before they claimed a goalie, the goalie retired in camp and they just weren't having a good time.
And they had two goalies who barely played any NHL games.
Yeah.
So
I think that's good for New Jersey and a very small loss for the Leafs, but it's a sad loss because we all
Of
did really
course.
like Dell. Like, I think fans of the
Yes.
Leafs really like Dell. Spezza. Let's talk about how Jason Spezza did not deserve this.
no, he
At all.
doesn't.
And
He
this is
doesn't
what I
deserve
mean
any of
when I
it.
say, let me talk about the Leafs defense, because there are so many other players on the Leafs defense who you could just throw out into open water.
Marinson.
We don't say that name in this household.
I think they knew that they were going to clear waivers. I think it was just a formality because of
Yeah.
the taxi squad and everything. But it was a risky move.
They still took that chance.
It's still very risky.
Excuse me.
And like, it's not even that like Spezza is like the most amazing player on the Leafs, but he is still a good piece for them. He's a great person to put on the penalty kill to, win the face off, get it back into their area. What is he, in the third line or fourth line? I always forget. Either way, he's in one of those two bottom lines. We're the Leafs fan, then we don't even know.
They shuffled stuff around. They had
Yeah.
7D yesterday, and I was like, whoa.
So either way, he's on one of those two bottom lines, but still, he's still great, and he still adds a lot of value to the team. So when I first heard, I was like, what are you doing? You guys did him dirty last season at the beginning of the season when you did a healthy scratch. Mike Babcock, thank you for that.
Done him so dirty this whole time.
But whatever, I'm just happy that he cleared waivers. Last night, he proved that he's a great, asset to the team because he was playing really well. I think that was him being like, look what you guys almost missed out on. But yeah, last is Calder favorites. So I did this one because I was reading the odd makers and their odds. And so apparently, let me see if I can pronounce his name. Shesterkin.
The emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Really?
Shesterkin.
Oh, Shesterkin. There we go. Shesterkin is the favorite to win the Calder this year. And then Lafreniere is behind him. So
Thank God.
my
Spice
question
it up a
is,
little bit.
Yeah, so my question for you guys, who is your pick?
Add a little bit of spice, So I'd go with Shesterkin just because I think that just because Lafreniere was drafted first overall doesn't mean that he's the best.
Exactly.
Rookie. I think that Shesterkin's done well. He's put up, he showed that he's going to be a face of this league someday. So I think it's a good thing for him to be the Calder favorite.
Alessia?
I mean, it was kind of hard for me to choose between these two. Shesterkin has shown, like Grace said, that he's a really good player. Lafreniere, like Grace said, just because he was drafted first overall means nothing. Like, we've seen Jack Hughes. I mean, I'm just saying, like, he hasn't been amazing.
That was unwarranted slander.
She just like added that in as if we weren't gonna notice.
But what I'm trying to say is that just because you're drafted first overall doesn't mean in your first year you're gonna have an incredible impact.
Yeah.
Like no Jack Hughes. But I'm just saying, for me, the player that has stuck out so far isn't even between these two. It's Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
In his debut against LA, he scored 3 points, which included the winning overtime goal. So that's the player I'm looking at right now, to be quite honest with you guys. That's the guy who's been sticking out to me. Now, I don't know how it's going to be at the end of the season, but that's
No.
just...
I'm just giving a quick note here to say that I don't think we've ever mentioned the Minnesota Wild on this show. So
Yes,
Well,
we
there's a
have.
first.
Like once.
Well, if we haven't, there's a first for everything.
Either way, I thought this was interesting because I was reading that I think it was the first time in a while where teammates had the best two odds to win the Calder. Also, we all know that Henrik Lundqvist is obviously right now out because he's having some issues with his heart, unfortunately, and he's having surgery. So right now, Shesterkin is probably the main guy for the Rangers, and obviously that gives him a lot more opportunity to show his skill and actually be the favorite to win the Calder, because usually I think with goalies is a little bit harder, or rookie goalies, because they don't get a lot of game time, right?
Oh yeah, because they're always backup.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like you guys said, just because you're drafted first overall doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win it.
And that's not to say that Lafreniere is a bad player. I think that we should just put a little asterisk beside that. This does not mean we think he's bad.
Yeah,
I think what we're trying to say is that in the team's kind of like situation right now, Shesterkin is going to have more of an impact.
Oh, and he's gonna get lots of those brownie points for stepping up when,
of course,
their favorite Henrik Lundqvist is out.
Exactly. And so it'll be fun to watch how all of this kind of plays out, especially how Alessia said with Kaprizov and with any other rookies. Who knows? These young guys can surprise us, and who knows? We can probably be speaking about a totally different person in the future. But for now, this is interesting, especially since it's in between two teammates, and I'm sure they support one another. But right now, it looks like Shesterkin is eyeing that trophy very, very early on in the season.
I do like Alessia's pick, though. I think that was a good choice.
Minnesota's doing pretty well right now, and I hope they keep it up, because honestly, Minnesota's kind of always been a team that I'm like, you guys deserve a little better,
fun,
Yeah, you guys deserve a little better. So hopefully they keep it up, and it'll be fun to watch them play, because they can play a pretty good game.
But before Maryuri goes on with her little, and I'm hijacking the show. I'm bringing this around because we don't have much time left. On the Dee-cal and Deck-uhl debate,
I won
by one vote.
Doesn't matter. I still won.
Had the poll been open for another hour, I believe that I would have gotten the tying vote, because it was tied for the longest time. And I have my suspicions, Maryuri, that you
when I first
created
saw
a
it,
new Twitter account to make yourself win.
That's false.
You could not handle having it said Deck-uhl.
That's false.
What's odd is that when I first saw the poll, Maryuri was in the lead. I think it was like 67%.
Yeah.
I pulled ahead.
Winning. And then the last time I checked, it was basically tied. So I was like,
Either way.
But I have a statement to settle this debate.
Okay, go ahead.
We are from very different parts of this planet, aka Northern Ontario and Southern Ontario. There is lots of differences. Here, it is said as Deck-uhl. We also never say the word. In Southern Ontario, of course, you say Dee-cal, because it sounds fancier, and it's very Southern Ontario to sound fancier.
Oh my god.
So I think that we should just call it a tie, because it's based on your region.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Fair
because
is fair.
I looked it up, and an American had a Canadian girlfriend who said Deck-uhl, but her sister who moved to Southern Ontario said Dee-cal.
It's Dee-cal.
No, that is not what you said last week.
Dee-cal?
Because even then, I get the
Dee-cal.
Decal.
Yeah, Dee-cal.
It's Deck-uhl.
Either way, we're not going to talk about this because it's take forever. Whoever that one person was that voted for me, thank you.
I tried to settle this. I would just like that noted that I tried to be the bigger person and settle this here. And
don't
Maryuri
make me look like the bad person. You know what? I'm going to end the show right now because I can't take the slander anymore. But either way, thank you to all of you who voted. That was a fun little, question that we asked. And I'm sure we'll have lots of more things to settle in the future. So please look out for those on Twitter or Instagram. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's show. You know, we were a little sleepy at first, but I think we got ourselves going there, and it was lots of fun to talk, you know, goalie edition, have open discussion time, have us all agree for once in our lifetimes.
That was incredible.
But I'm hoping next week we have lots more hockey to talk about. You know, it'll be probably 2 weeks into play now, next week. And so I'm sure there'll be lots of fun things to talk about, lots of interesting plays, and probably maybe some discussion topics that will have us arguing finally on this show. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's show. Please keep up with us on Instagram, on Twitter, and anywhere you listen to this podcast. And see you next time. So see you later, alligators.